Hold on a second. Welcome, welcome, everyone. Let me make sure that this is going live in the right place. So going to Facebook. I'm going to start in just a minute. So I see a live in 7 groups. Let's make sure we are on. Say something went wrong. Let's try again, go back. Hi, Jennifer, good to see you. I'm just checking in from the perfect timing. Welcome, welcome. And this is going to be a fun live. All right, so we are in the Akashic Records Institute page. And yes, we are live. Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for the love and for the shares. Hey, 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 miss you. So I'm very excited to be here. We're going to talk about prosperity, and I trust that it's going to help everyone that is watching, either live or watching the replay, to shift, some things in the present that may not be attracting the prosperity that you are intending to attract for yourself. For those of you that are new to me, I'm so excited to be here with you. I'm Patricia Nisakian. I'm the founder of the Akashic Records Institute and creator of Let Your Soul Purpose Guide You and the Akashic Records Certification Program. A little notification: I am bringing to you a powerful masterclass this Thursday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. And the masterclass is called Create the Life That You Want with Your Intuition and the Akashic Records. So if you want to participate, I forgot to put the link, just comment below and I'll be happy to share the link with you. You probably can't find if you look through the page, but I'll be happy to share it later. So if you're not in yet, make sure to say, I want information about the masterclass, and I will send the link. It's a free masterclass. It's going to be 90 minutes and it's going to happen this Thursday. And if you cannot make it, there will be a replay for everyone that signed up. So sign up so you can participate in the replay. And welcome, welcome. I see Andrea, Patricia, Victoria, Laurie, and Jennifer. And welcome everyone that I don't see your name. Feel free to feel hugged and feel welcome. I'm very happy to be here with you. So this is an informal live, and I want to talk about prosperity and how you can, shift what is blocking it. If you're not experiencing the prosperity that you want, right? There is something about the present that you're holding on to, something that is holding you back. So do comment below if there is what questions you have about prosperity. So I want to, I have a few points that I like writing a little bullets of what we're going to talk about. Otherwise, we're going to go all over the place. But I do want to see your questions too. So please comment below what questions you have about prosperity. Where do you feel stuck? Or where, you notice that you keep changing things and doing things in a certain way, but maybe you're not experiencing in the level that you want. So any questions you have about prosperity, please comment below. There was one question that I saw before that was in the events page. So I will address that question in a little bit, and then any questions that is here. So hopefully you're having an amazing Wednesday. And that's it. Let's get started. So one thing that I notice about prosperity as I look back, right? If you don't know my story, a little snippet of it is that I'm from Brazil, and I came here to the United States. I had this desire. And one thing that I wanted to, I'm going to actually talk about, even if you already heard my story, I'm going to talk about, a few pieces that I did left out in my masterclass. So it may be actually new for everybody. So one thing about my story that is relevant to this, and that it's part of how I am in everything that I do, I have this tendency, to just trust in what people tell me. So in a sense, or not what everybody tells me, but for example, when someone shares a possibility, right? I'll be like, oh, that's cool. And that for me opens up possibilities, right? So let me know if that makes sense. Like I have this, and this is something that, this is something that for me, it's something natural for me. If that is something that is not natural for you, I actually would like to invite you to start looking at things that way. Because when you look at possibilities only, that's what you find. You find freedom in listening to possibilities from others, listening to others' experiences of something that they did and shift life for them, and that just happens, right? So there is something about prosperity in what you think that is possible that opens so many doors for you, right? So my personal story, if you saw my master class, I shared that I came here, I had $600 in my pocket. That was 20 years ago, 20 years ago. I moved from Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, to Seattle, Washington. And that's all I had. I had $600 in my pocket. And but before that, at that time, I was 24. I had just graduated in graphic design, and I had this very awesome job. I was making like 5 times what my colleagues were making. I was making more money than people that were working 30 years in their business. So I had this, as I was finishing the university, my BA, I just landed in this amazing, amazing opportunity. And so I was very happy at that business. However, the business had to shut down. They closed. So I was in a moment that I didn't have much going on, 24 and just enjoying life, my merry way. And at the time, I was a member of this rock climbing club. So I was just going rock climbing and just enjoying life, right? And I always had this deep desire to be independent, right? I had growing up, especially in Brazil, for most people that grow up in Brazil, our culture, it's a little different. You don't really, it's not the culture and also the economy in the country. It's not as normal as it is here in the United States. You're 18-year-old, you want to be independent, you just go get a job in McDonald's or whatever, and you get a roommate and you are, support yourself. In Brazil, that doesn't happen. So you depend somehow in your family, unless you have a very good job. And at that time, so my job laid me off, and I was just enjoying life, and I was asking the question, what is next, right? And I went to a party, and I met this girl that had just come from Miami. And she was just sharing how it was an amazing experience that she had. She was doing babysitter, and she had, she was able to have a roommate, and she was independent. She had her own place. And I was like, oh, that's cool. So that was me having a conversation with her. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And I was like, so I was absorbing the information. So I was like, okay, so that means that if I get a ticket and I go move to anywhere in the United States, I can learn the language, I can find a roommate and have my own place and pay my bills and experience this whole new world of opportunities or different cultures and all that. So I'm like, wow, that's so cool. So I'm like, okay, so that was me and her having a conversation in the evening in this rock climbing party. And then in the next morning, at the time I used to live with my grandmother, and I woke up and I was having breakfast. My grandmother always did this like beautiful, breakfast with everything. It was so. This is something that I miss my grandma, and like that support, right? So anyway, so I woke up and I sat on the breakfast table, and my grandma was like, "So, how are you doing?" And I said, "Wow, I'm good." And you know what? I think I'm going to move to the United States. And my grandma was like, "Right. Anyway, so do you want eggs or cereal for breakfast?" So she was like, and so the reason that I told this story is that as I look back, right, in the last 18 years that I've been here, I moved to the United States. I moved down here. I got my work permit, and I created now a beautiful business. I have amazing people in my team working for me. So I bring this body of work that not only certifies our students in accessing the Akashic records, but also transform their lives, because there is so much more that you get. Like you just shift your way of being, you shift how you relate to people around you, you shift your own, how you see yourself and your own value, and how you can connect to what you're really here to do, your purpose, and empower the lives of others, right? So all that came from me listening to basically, someone else's experience, and in listening to that experience, seeing the possibility and having an intention and moving my feet to get there, right? So what I believe that the number one, like the easiest way for you to bring prosperity in your life is to start shifting and start understanding or really embracing this. If this is something, if what I shared, the ability to just see a possibility and hold that possibility as true and moving your feet to get there, right? If that is something that is not natural for you, I would like to invite you to start asking yourself the question: what if everything was possible for me? What if all the abundance and the prosperity that I desire is just waiting for me to start believing that it's possible, right? So there are so many shifts that I embraced by adopting basically this identity, that if I see someone that could do it, that means it's totally possible, right? So let me know if that lands with you. Feel free. I would love to see your comments here. So the number one thing that I wanted to bring is, understanding what's your beliefs. What do you believe is possible? And if you're not believing in the possibility, right? One thing is your mind say, I want it. Other thing is you just believe with your whole body, and also give yourself permission to feel the feelings that comes from it, right? So the first point that I wanted to bring is this, like, what beliefs that you have about possibilities. And if and just start looking at the beliefs, and if you notice that the beliefs are not there, ask yourself, how can I just be open to wonder and just get excited? But the excitement that I'm talking about is the excitement of a child, right? Because if you imagine that when you see possibility, when you see someone doing what you'd like to do, when you see someone that is able to create something, what if you look at it and with the eyes of a child, like, oh, okay, that's what's possible, and then you just move your feet. Like my daughter, she was almost 5 years old. She was not even 5. And she saw her big brother, my son that is 8, losing his teeth left and right. Like at some point I was losing teeth. And then my daughter, she was not even 5. And she was like, oh, I'm going to lose my teeth very soon. And even I will say, I told her, because in my experience, I saw her son, her brother, losing his teeth at 6. So when my 4-year-old says, I'm going to lose my teeth very soon, I'm like, well, there is 2 years to come. So I'm like, it might take a little bit. And sure and behold, in less than a month, she lost her tooth. She already lost a bunch of tooth now. She's still 5. So what if you adopt that? Like, I'm losing my teeth. I'm creating the prosperity, and just it's there, right? So, but we as humans, we adopt so much. We accept beliefs that are imposed to us. Between 0 and 7, we are these little sponges that just absorb our parents' beliefs about what's possible and what's not possible, right? So if I can bring one thing to you about prosperity, from my experience in this life, is that, the inspiration for you to start to wonder and start to, not allow your mind to question so much and to bring so much past evidence from what happened in the past, because that's what it is. It's the past, right? And the future is, there are so many, through working with the Akashic Records, through working with my clients, my evidence is there are so many different alternatives for the future. And I can see you living every single one of them. Yet, there is also, the part that you also allow your desires to show you what is the best outcome for you. And then how you can take action today and start clearing or releasing what is holding you back, so you can create that you desire, right? So coming back around, let me know if it makes sense. If you have questions about this, do tell. So, one of the things that in my Akashic Record certification program, I do come from not only the background of branding, but also the background of money coaching. I love coaching, my clients, how they can shift their perspective and money so they can start making more money. And when we designed the Akashic Record certification program, I created within the program a business in a box for the students, where there is this, package of sessions that that help their clients to shift, their prosperity. So it's called like prosperity transformation. And so when you start looking at that, you bringing this opportunity for your clients to connect to these 3 important pieces that determine what you are manifesting or not in your life. So the first thing is to what I just shared, like looking at the beliefs that you adopted regarding possibility. So if you're not seeing the possibility, if you're not open to that possibility, how can you look at this possibility with the eyes of a child, right? Observe children, how they do things, how they create things, and they say, this is going to happen. And it just it just happened for them. They're our little teachers, right? The second thing is, most people hold themselves from taking action today in what they wanted to create because the past, specifically because of the debt that they created, right? So if you look the debt that you have today, if there is any form of that, as a representation of who you are, right? That is going to hold you back, because if you look at the debt, or that's who I am, right? You put yourself in that box. It's not going to give you freedom to create what, to be open to receive what you have really to really receive and experience in your life. However, the most important thing to understand about that is that the debt that you have today represents the thoughts, the memories, right? and and especially your past attitudes that you had. So it basically represents the past. It doesn't represent who you are. And there are so many reasons that someone could get into that. Could be school, could be, investing in your business, or, whatever that is. So, but when you're holding on to that and you're putting that in the top of your head, and telling yourself, I'm not successful because I have that, you put yourself in that, you limit yourself from possibilities, right? So the most important thing to understand is that the debt represents your past attitudes and is based on your beliefs that you had in the past. In my personal experience, I can guarantee you that things can shift like that when you open yourself for that shift that is available. I was just doing a clearing for the students for the Soul Purpose class, and we work with this grid, which is the grid of possibilities. The possibilities are around you when you choose to look. So I've seen it so many times, in moments in my business, in growing my business, I created that. The one good thing that we have in the United States is that you get these like zero interest credit cards, or also I'm always being very good. If I needed something, invested in myself for something, I would get the credit card, I will put in my thing, and I will, make myself, I will commit myself to take care of that before that expires, because before I have to pay an interest on that. And always open to the opportunities. So something is going to show up that is going to clear that. And that's how that's how I operate. I just look at, what can I do to empower myself to shift this situation? So there is a piece of, being responsible for the commitments that you create in your life. And noticing that anytime you're not having integrity with what you wanted to create for yourself, with the commitments, the payments that you have to do, or or the things that you tell yourself, you join a class, but then you don't show up for the class. If you're doing that, you're being out of integrity with yourself, with the investments that you did for yourself, right? So start looking at that, like what this is bringing it up to me, and how can I open to possibilities so I can shift the things, right? And then the third piece of the prosperity transformation is, looking at the possibilities for your future from the Akashic Records perspective, and again, as you look into, anytime I go into my clients' records and we are looking at future possibilities. So, but what is interesting is that there are so many different ways that you can get there. There is so many different ways of how your future can look like, and where the Akashic Records can come powerfully to help you to understand what actions, what needs to be shifted in the present, so you can pretty much, choose that particular future that it's connected to your desires. Right. I think I lost a little bit of connection in the Facebook, but if that happens, we do have a YouTube, and come to my YouTube. This one is not going to be deleted. Come to my YouTube, is Akashic Records Institute. Make sure to subscribe and click on the bell in case, your Facebook connection goes bad. I noticed that the connection went down and up just now. So again, I'm going to recapitulate for you. Look at the beliefs that you adopted regarding possibilities. Looking if there is anything holding you back, like the debt, or someone got a session from you and didn't like the session, or whatever it is that is holding you back from showing up, from bringing your gifts to the world. Looking at these as, this is representing the past, doesn't represent who I am today. And then, you start taking the actions in alignment of, who you are from the perspective from your future. If your future, you visualize yourself, I don't know, like inspiring people in some way, let's say in the stage, right? And so who you are today, what are you doing to get your yourself over there, right? And it's like you maybe need to take some classes. You may need to talk, to really connect to your soul purpose, so you know how that's going to look like and how you want to feel when you get there. And once you do that, you bring yourself, you go today, but you go from that perspective, who you're being in that future, that inspires yourself, that makes you wake up out of bed. And then you ask the questions in every single action you take today. You're taking your action based on who you be in the future. So we wanted to be now that person from your future, so you can start experiencing what is there for you. So let me see if there's anything else in my notes. So, to recapitulate, the first thing is, noticing also what illusions you have about prosperity. And this is in alignment with the question that was sent to me. She mentioned, I would love to hear about prosperity, how prosperity can take on many forms and its connection to other aspects of our life. Can we learn and recognize the signs? Yes. So one way that I hear, people say, I want to make 6 figures, I want to make $1 million, I want to make, 10 millions, 7 figures, 8 figures, or whatever. So, but for most people, just the number, it doesn't exciting too many people. So when you look at prosperity, your question, how prosperity can take many forms and its connections to all aspects of our lives, start today looking at what is the present evidence of prosperity. And again, and like you said, it can take many forms. So having abundance of water to wash your hands, have a place to sleep, when you start focusing on these small things that shows evidence of, you are protected, you are safe. And when the more you focus on that gratitude, you clear the illusion of, the prosperity to be like the pie in the sky, right? And the more you give yourself permission to feel that prosperity, that solution that is already around you, it's in your relationships, and it's, I have a friend that mentioned to me that she was talking about this person that we know that is extremely rich, and it's so interesting. Her comment was like, she's so rich that she's so rich that she's poor, because when you are only looking at the actual number, and and you're just working so hard to get there, you're not looking at the people around your journey. So this person that we're talking about, she was just like all the time only working, and not pay attention on the family, and the husband left her, and the children don't talk to her. So she was so rich that she was poor, because she wasn't embracing all that is possible, like embracing the word prosperity in many different levels, looking at who you are, what what you bring to the world, how you're being at service. And it doesn't mean that you are it doesn't mean that you're not charging for your services. Valuing your services and charging for your worth is also something that you can do to support others to believe in themselves, so they can invest in themselves, so they can receive the transformation that they are here to receive, right? That is, it doesn't mean that you are like this greedy person that only looks at money. But when you connect it to your worth and you bring that peace, and you invite people to invest themselves by working with you, you also give them that opportunity. And one thing about it, anytime that you are experiencing like maybe people not honoring their commitment with you, or there is something coming up for you to look at you, like, when are you not honoring in yourself, and when are you it's in the basic level, has to do with self-worth, right? Not believing that what you have can transform lives, and because of that, dishonoring your services. But you have to look at that in order for you to grow, you need to start looking at your value and start charging for your value. I don't care, what is in alignment with you, but there is something about that is coming through that, brings that peace that, when people don't value what you have to offer them, they're not going to take it seriously. So what part of your beliefs you're telling yourself that you're not worth, and because of that, you are not, showing up, you're not being responsible for your commitments, you're not being present in your decisions, and you're not following up what you determined that you need to follow up. All right, so that's what I wanted to bring it for you. So, to ground this, looking at, what is not showing up in your life, and how can you shift, from being a resistance to what's not showing up, to open up, to, shift to open to the possibilities. That's how we started today, right? Open to the possibilities of the solution that is already around you. So once you decide to empower yourself to see the solution that is already around you, things completely change for you, right? To close this story, that is very interesting, to narrow down. Like, I came here, I started sharing this story in the beginning, to be responsible. I wanted to be responsible. I wanted to be independent. Yet, part of my identity wasn't ready for it to be responsible, to be independent. So, a few years ago, when I opened my business, I opened a business in the United States and in Brazil. And because I don't live in Brazil, I'm independent. I had to put my mom as a partner, as a silent partner, and depended on her to make payments, to make, to move things around for me. And that created a lot of stress, a lot of, draining of energy. So when I choose to be responsible, even if that would cost, and that's the decision that I had this year, even if it would cost to lose some clients in Brazil, because, the whole thing in Brazil is that most people don't have international credit cards, and they use this different system. For anyone that works with Latin America, it's like a nightmare. But they use this different system that you have to have a Brazilian business, right? So when I started my business, I decided to go around and open a company there. Yet it made me depend on someone else to access my money. So I made a decision this year. It was actually in the last year, but things in Brazil take forever. We're still in the process of closing the company. But I made a decision that even if that would cost me to lose clients, even if that would cost to shift, things, that would be my independence, right? So many times, so I'm bringing that to you now, so many times you're experiencing a situation that is uncomfortable for you, that you don't like whatever that is, a certain client or a certain kind of way of running your business, or even, if you work for someone else, you resist that change because you are afraid of what's going to happen if you lose that, right? So it's the fear of losing something. So be very aware of the fear of losing, because once you do that, it at what cost you are in that situation, right? So this is very interesting that I assume I really, stand my ground in my independence on being responsible. And that is something that shifted and is shifting. We're almost closing the company, cannot wait. And also this past month, we are going through a huge shift here in my household, as my husband is quitting his job. So there's a lot of things and shifts, and this is going to be amazing. I'm just absolutely loving this transformation. Yet we have to put a lot of things. You know, I am being like now the person responsible for the household, the person responsible for my children's school, the person responsible for my team of 6 people that I have. So, but I'm looking at this as the most amazing things that happen because of that, I'm stepping up in my game. I'm recommitting to my purpose and to, showing up for myself, for you, and for my family, and for my team, right? So I trust that is going to inspire you, that no matter where you are, there is always an opportunity to, step up in your game. And that doesn't mean that you're going to work harder. It doesn't mean that you're going to have to, is what really shows up. And it's just like, trusting that you don't have to do it all. It doesn't have to come all from the same place, right? I love what I do. There is an investment for you to work with me privately or to participate in the Akashic Records certification program. But that is not where prosperity can come to me. There is so many other ways that comes, right? And when you open up to the possibilities of solutions that are already around you, you just surprise yourself, and then you find yourself, living this lifestyle that is in alignment of who you are and what you're here to do. So our live went a little longer today. I'm sorry, but I always love being here with you. I'm gonna look into. I still have a few more times, so let me do this. Hi, Kelly. Good to see you. I miss you. Oops. Hold on. There is someone decided to call me. All right. So Patricia said, I definitely makes sense. I'm learning that thoughts become action, just like believing that you are going to lose your teeth, and it happens, right? Like a 4-year-old. I still think it's rare. It does happen, but it's rare. Sometimes it's hard to let go of those things you're taught as a kid. Yes. Especially not having a positive relationship with money. Yes. And again, those are the stories that your parents told you, that you told yourself. But I truly believe that all of us, we have the power to change that story, to choose to, believe back in miracles, in fairies, in, surprises. They're there. They're there to you when you choose to look in that direction, right? I was going to tell another story, but we already went too far. Let's see. I don't see any more comments or questions. All right. If there is comments or question, I can look up later. I don't see it. All right. So thank you for being here. And make sure to save your seat for a masterclass that is going to happen this Thursday at 1 p.m. It's going to be a powerful 90 minutes masterclass. The link is here. I'm going to post the link up here. I think it's not yet. I will edit this and put the link up and that above and below. And so it's happening this Thursday, 1 p.m. Pacific, for 90 minutes. We're going to look at creating the life you want with the Akashic Records and your intuition. And you're also going to receive a powerful Akashic clearing during the session, where I'm going to connect with my healing guides and help you to clear what is holding you back from connecting or trusting your intuition even more. I love you, and I'll see you on Thursday. Bye-bye. And bye-bye if you're on YouTube. Let's see if there is anyone live here. Oh, we have some live members. Let's go and say hi to you. Let's see if there is questions there. Let's see if there is anyone live. Ana Rosa, hello, and Melanie, good to see you here. How beautiful. And Ana Paula is in London. Very nice. Ana Paula, share. Are you here still? I think so. So you share the self-limiting beliefs are hard to shift. Yes. It is time to change them and replace with power, prosperous, and loving thoughts. Trust yourself. Yes. So thank you so much for being here. And I'll see you guys on Sunday for a reading for the week. Bye-bye.